What is up, family? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, each and every time I say that, it's like, wow, that's just absolutely amazing to me right there because of where I came from. But I won't get into that right now. I'll get back to the show. So I have a very, very interesting guest tonight. We were supposed to do it a few weeks ago and things didn't work out. But I ask you guys if you would please share this episode out. Invite as many people as you can to watch it. Don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. Hey, you can even get mad at us. I don't care. Just help us trick the algorithm on one of the socials that we're on. Also, keep the comments coming. We want to have more of a conversation than just make a presentation. So if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and put them in the chat. And if they're up to my standard, I will definitely read them on the show. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Rodriguez.
What is up, Jeff?
Not
Talking
much.
about talk about an introduction.
I am so happy that we actually were able to arrange this because I want to find out all about your inside out building of resilience. That little like tidbit there just sparks my interest. So if you would like to go through a short introduction, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you do. And then I am going to be inviting a few people on my phone so we get more people in here watching with us.
Sounds good. So my name is Jeremy Rodriguez. I am a mental wealth life coach where I help people create a real paradise experience on this earth, but from the inside out. It's really about cultivating uh, a mindset, cultivating thoughts, cultivating emotions, cultivating an energy that really serves you. And to be clear, this is not saying that we're not going to experience negative emotions and we're not going to have negative thoughts. It's about having such a beautiful relationship with your internal self that you're able to leverage that negativity to do something positive with
Wow.
it. So I get the blessing of being able to go and speak on stages all around the world. I get to work with people from different walks of life from all around the world, and I'm just grateful because before coaching, before speaking, before anything, I'm a student to life. I am a student to the game, and my desire to understand myself on a higher level, my desire to want to get to know me on a deeper level gives me the motivation to be able to serve humanity on a higher level as well.
That sounds amazing right there. I have to say, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know you are a busy guy and you have stuff going on, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy evening to be here.
Absolutely.
But I would like to extend a hello to Robert Brooker, who is watching us from Canada,
Hey,
and my
Robert.
dad, who is watching us from across the street right now.
Nice.
And Robert says hi, Jeff, and then he says hi, Jeremy. So
Hello, hello,
he
hello.
he's always here. He's always pushing out the message to get people involved, and I'm very happy to see that. But so at 17, I was involved in a very serious car accident. I actually spent 2.5 months in a coma and three
Wow.
and a half in the hospital. I was told I probably wouldn't be walking right now, but guess what? I am. And I know that there are things that life tends to put in the way, and things that are there not to stop us, but they seem like they're there to stop us at the time. I believe, though, that they are only made to be grown through. And if we do grow through them, we don't repeat them. I believe that when we just go through things, we often repeat those things. So I'm asking you, has there been anything that led to you figuring out that resilience can be built from the inside out?
Yeah, so just to put this into perspective on my approach towards life and my enthusiasm and gratitude towards life, I personally have attempted to take my own life 15 times.
Oh my gosh.
So growing up, suffering was so normalized that I thought that that was what life was about. And because I didn't know how to cope with my emotions, I didn't know how to cope with my thoughts. For me, I just really couldn't accept this idea that life involved so much suffering. So for context, a lot of my suffering would be things that were out of my control. And because I didn't have an answer to those things, my resolution was to attempt to take my own life. And what I started to realize after after the last time that I tried to take my own life, I started to become curious on the lens that I was looking at my life with. And I came to the conclusion that what's life without problems? Right? What's life without having things to overcome? What's life without having to deal with adversity? So when you study the human needs, we got the need for certainty, the need for uncertainty, we got the need for significance, we got the need for love. And when you think about the spiritual needs, we're talking about growth and contribution. So I shifted my mentality from victimizing myself and indulging in all of these negative emotions and negative experiences to leveraging those things as a way to become more disciplined in my thoughts, in my emotions, in my self-control. And through that nurturing and through those trying seasons, I was able to not only coach myself to get out of those funds, but I am now in a position that I can coach other people to do the same thing. So resilience is a gift. Resilience is a blessing, but the only way to create more resilience is to have things that challenge that resilience. And when it comes down to success, when it comes down to relationships, whether they're personal or interpersonal, when it comes down to our fitness, when it comes down to anything, the more resistance we're able to endure, the stronger we get in every aspect of our life.
Yes. So I find it very interesting. I mean, there are people that say, I know there's a great show on YouTube that is called Seek Discomfort, and it's done by Yes Theory family. And that's amazing. And there's other people that say that comfort or growth does not happen within your comfort zone. And I find that to be awesome because that is kind of saying what you are saying. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what you're talking about right now, Jeff, I'm actually doing a personal development seminar around that because what we don't realize when 95% of us is happening on autopilot, right? We're talking
Yeah.
about our subconscious is just literally operating with us without us being aware. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me how things are going extremely well for him. You know, the relationship is going good, his finances are going good, his job is going good, His physique is starting to transform. He's in a very healthy place. And I told him, I love that for you. But here's the question that I have for you. Out of everything that you've mentioned, that's great. When was the last time that you've gotten out of your comfort zone and truly challenged yourself? So I told them what's scary when things are, people think that it's scary for things not to be going well. For me, what's scary is when things begin to go well, you're seeing things as being ran smoothly, not realizing that that comfort is the very thing that incarcerates you, and it literally handicaps you from you focusing on you growing. When things are going smooth, for me, what I like to do is I like to look at my life objectively. Things are going well, things are going smooth, and if things are a smooth ride, that means that I'm not putting myself in a position where I'm challenging myself enough. And that's one thing that is very big, because if we think about it, Jeff, once you have the finances, once you get the body, once you get the relationship, once you get the house, once you get all of that, that's just phase one. That is literally really irrelevant in comparison to when you're chasing the human being that you are going to ultimately be proud of. Too many times people are proud of themselves based on what they've acquired. And for me, I say, screw what I can acquire. Acquiring things is super easy. Is creating a goal, creating a step-by-step, and following that. What I'm infatuated with more than anything is how can I live completely out of my comfort zone? Because it's not about what I'm becoming, it's about who I'm becoming.
Wow. Not what I'm becoming, but who I am becoming. I find that very profound just in saying that, because people don't actually look at what they're doing. They don't look at what they are putting out into the world. And they need to realize that what you put out is what you're going to get back. And I don't know, I like that statement that you just made. So I know personally that there are some other people in here with health struggles, and I would like to know what you think about health struggles. I mean, how can your system benefit people with health issues?
So when it comes down to health, there's different components of health. You think about a lot of times physical health, how somebody physically looks, right? For me, I like to break down health into multiple categories. For me, the first aspect of health is the mental health. How are you mentally? How is your thought process? How are you able to redirect those challenging thoughts that are coming in to infiltrate your well-being? Then we got emotional health. Emotional health is important because us human beings are operating off of vibration and frequency. Your emotion is the vehicle, right, that is going to lead you to vibrating at a certain rate, that's going to lead you to a certain frequency. So being aware of your emotions and being emotionally intelligent, I think, is a superpower that a lot of people underestimate. I'm talking about they underestimate. Then we got spiritual health. Regardless of what you believe, you can believe in a higher power, you can have your own beliefs around spirituality, but your spiritual health, and then you got your physical health. So when it comes down to your physical health, is really being honest with yourself and asking yourself, how do you physically feel? What's your mobility like? What's your energy like? Like how when you're moving this canvas, this one canvas that you got, like how do you actually feel every single day? And to make it simple, when it comes down to physical health, is asking yourself, what do you want to physically? You can look at it from a feeling standpoint. How do you want to feel? And you can create a diet based on feeling. You can create a diet and a lifestyle based on how you want to aesthetically feel and appear to yourself, but it's really a matter of you taking this one canvas and having the ability to navigate through life without having that feeling of drag, that feeling of laziness, that feeling of unmotivation, because the lack of movement that you provide with your body.
All right, so let's say that somebody is in this situation like me, that where their body just kind of refuses to move, refuses to cooperate with them, and they can't move like that. So how would you say that they can move on with their situation if we're wanting to build it from the inside out? So how exactly can that person build it from the inside out?
Beautiful. So let me ask you this question before anything.
Okay.
Is it due to being paralyzed? Is it due to the body just like really not functioning, right? Because if let's say give me a clear example, that way I can articulate based on that specific example, because there's a lot of insinuating circumstances. So give me exactly what you're referring to, that way I can talk directly about that.
All right, so let's say something like a stroke.
Yep. So somebody that has a stroke, obviously they're in a very vulnerable place. One thing I believe with all of my heart is that as long as your heart is beating, there is an up, and you're literally not laying on your last bed where you're completely brain dead. You have an opportunity to reshape your life. The thing about it is that this is why having resilience is so important. This is why having willpower is so important, because in order for you to be able to overcome something like a stroke, you have to have the very first thing, which is the will to keep going. The stroke can define you, and it can be the reason why you can't, or the stroke can shape you and could be the reason why you should and you have to. So that's
I like that though. It's so you're saying that you can either look at that stroke or whatever situation as the reason you can't do something, or you can use that whatever health situation as the reason you have to do something.
correct. Let me share something with you that's going to be so deep, and this is going to be so deep for you guys, whoever's watching as well. This right here is unbelievable. So let's say you have something like a stroke take place, right? So when you have a stroke, it creates a lot of scarcity. It really affects our nervous system. It really affects us tremendously.
Yes.
Why does it affect us more than it should? Because once we involve fear and we go into that fight or flight, now we have already lost the battle, right? We've already lost the battle. So when I look at anything, no matter how drastic it is, it could be a heart attack, it could be a stroke, it could be anything. As long as my brain is not dead and my heart is still beating, I can look at the cardiac arrest or the stroke with lens of gratitude, because what my body is telling me is that it still works, and what it's doing is exhausting all of its efforts to let me know that I am mismanaging my thoughts and my emotions. Because when you're under fight or flight for so long and your body is not in homeostasis, what happens is that your organs have to work extremely hard. And when your organs have to work extremely hard, and we're still causing a lot of internal suffering because of our perception of our thoughts and our way of managing our emotions, all of that making our organs work extremely hard, eventually the body's going to get tired. And nothing creates more chaos in our body than stress. When you think about how many premature cardiac arrests have taken place in a lot of young lives, this is not just happening with older individuals. It's also happening with young lives. People are having cardiac arrest in their 20s, 30s, and 40s because of the way that they deal with stress every single day of their life. So, because I understand all of this, when I'm looking at something like a cardiac arrest, when I'm looking at something like a stroke, as long as, once again, to reiterate this, my brain is not dead and my heart is able to beat independently, I'm leveraging the stroke. I'm leveraging the cardiac arrest. I'm leveraging the panic attack as a way, as an indication to have confidence that my body is still working. And as long as my body is still working, that could entice me to get my mind to work. And if I can entice my mind to work, then I can modify my emotions. And if I can modify my emotions, I could turn this thing that could have been a tragedy into my
triumph. Yeah, tragedy, triumph, tragedy, trophy, same kind of
celebration,
thing.
whatever you want to call it, Jeff.
But I absolutely love that, because I know that I took what could have been a tragedy in my life and I have turned it into something that benefits others, something that serves humanity. And I believe it is Norman Vincent Peale that said that we should be afraid to leave this place before we make a lasting impact on humanity. And that's just one of those things that has stuck with me, because we can take whatever it is we're going through and leave a lasting impact on humanity and make the world a better place. So Robert Brooker said, I'm loving this. Sound like McDonald's. I'm loving this.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. So, and then Bambi Lynn says, I love that. I didn't want to leave without leaving a lasting impression. So, people are definitely paying attention to this conversation.
What if, Jeff, really quick, what if the lasting impression is the one that you make on yourself when you're actually alive? Because here's what I've learned, right? Here's what I've learned. A lot of people mention the word legacy. A lot of people have this idea of leaving a lasting impression on this earth. You know what the problem with that? The problem with that is that if you look at that with no emotion, that's actually a sign of entitlement. Because why should I expect anyone to do something with my effort? Right? It's like what I do, what I choose to do with my effort, I choose to do it. And the objective for me is for me to be proud of the way I've lived my life. And as long as I have a positive impression on myself, that's the only thing that matters, because I don't want to create so much effort and so many expectations that then what happens if those expectations are not met? Right. And a lot of times people focus more on how they're going to be remembered when they die than how are they impacting their own lives while they're alive. So I just choose to no longer have an expectation on legacy. I choose to just double down my effort on what's going to make me the most proud of my journey when it's my time to take my last breath. And as long as I can be okay with that, then I can leave this earth in peace with no expectations on what people are going to do with my efforts. Would it be great if somebody got impacted by me? Absolutely, but it's no longer an expectation to where I'm putting unnecessary pressure on myself on what life is going to look like once I'm gone. I'd rather focus on what life is going to feel like while I'm here.
Wow. So I love that. So I've never heard that. And the fact that it's one of those things that it's like that should be obvious. And We all should realize that. But is it? I don't think it is. Nobody has said that I know of. And yeah, wow, thank you.
You're very welcome,
Um,
Jeff.
so Ben Bruce Chris says that that's the question. What happens if those expectations aren't met? Now,
Exactly.
Ben Bruce is actually he's living in the Seychelles right now, which is in the Indian Ocean, but he is from Lagos, Nigeria. So that's pretty cool. We have somebody from Africa, somebody from North America, well, Canada does in North America, but
That's
it's cool.
awesome.
We have all these people watching from around the world, and they're definitely feeling the conversation that we're having.
Awesome. My assistant is actually from Nigeria, so that's great that Ben and her are from the same environment.
Yes, that's pretty cool. So, I I, I want to ask something that I like to ask on the show, but
Absolutely.
I forget a lot of times to ask it. So, um, what 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 exactly does make every second count mean to you?
In short, I believe making every second count is just being where your feet are. A lot of times we're physically somewhere, but mentally and emotionally we're somewhere else. And I have this belief, right, that nothing, Jeff, I mean nothing matters more than the moment. So if I can make the most out of this moment, I'm going to be so focused, so engaged, so here that anytime my mind wants to wander anywhere else, I'm going to bring it right back, because the only thing that I can possibly have control over is what's in front of me and where my feet are. And this is what happens because, like right now, right? In my perception, based on how I live my life, nothing nor anyone on this planet matters than Jeff Marconette right now.
Well,
Nothing.
I agree with that.
Nothing, right? And then when I'm done with Jeff, whatever's in front of me, nothing is gonna matter more than that.
Yeah.
And what that does is that helps me eliminate all of this pressure, all of these unnecessary thoughts, all of these unnecessary emotions that I put that us human beings produce thinking about what can happen rather than focusing on what's happening. So if I can make this 1 second count, by default, my next second is going to be a good one. And if I can make that second count, then by default, my next second is going to be a good one. And what I believe, Jeff, and I feel this with all of my heart and soul, I feel this in every atom of my being, is that when you think about the quality of a human being's life, the quality of a human being's life is shaped around, can somebody be where their feet are and marry the correct emotion to that moment as much and as efficient as possible. Me and another human being can live the same experience, but what changes and determines the quality of that experience is my perception of that experience and my emotions towards that experience. So I give you an example. I go to a wake. That a wake gives you an opportunity to suffer, right? Without no defense mechanism. You're at a wake. So I'm at a wake, and although my tears are coming out, my perception of the wake is a positive one because it's not me in that casket. So
Yeah.
one human being will take that, suffer extremely over that situation, and continue to indulge in that, while my perception and my emotions although I do experience some form of sadness, I'm able to extract more positivity because of that perception and because of that emotion. So you could take that and you can apply that to two people sitting at a table eating a meal together. You can apply that and take that to individuals that are working at a job together, right? People can be doing the same thing, but based on their relationship with that thing, based on their perception with that thing, based on their default home emotionally, is going to determine who's getting what type of experience from that very same thing. And so like that you asked me that, and I'm going on a tangent intentionally because I feel so strong about that. It doesn't matter what you live. I know people that have been on vacation in like with paradise at the forefront of their view, and because their emotional home is a negative one, they're still dissatisfied with that moment. There's people that are driving a bike that are happy, and there's people that are driving a Lamborghini that are miserable. So again, it really depends on what lens are you looking at life with. What's your perception? What's the emotion that you continue to nurture? Because that's going to determine the quality of your experience on this earth, and it's going to tell you what type of life you ended up living.
Wow. Thank you so much. Your tangent there was welcome to, and I appreciate hearing that tangent and seeing the positivity and the passion just come out of you. It was just
I get
cool.
very enthusiastic to say the least.
I want to point out here that Chris Ben Bruce said, I must say that I'm impressed with the way you elaborate things. Keep it up, brother.
Ben Bruce, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I really appreciate you investing in yourself in this time, because you could be doing anything else. Your attention could be anywhere else. There's nothing more expensive than attention. So the fact that you're tuning in, you're extremely attentive to the wisdom, it really means the world to me.
And then I know we're running over time here. We were set to go a half hour. But Robert says, what can I do that helps another feel that they matter?
Great question. Simple, so simple, but so effective. The first thing that you can do to make somebody feel like they matter is listen to them actively. When somebody is talking and there's two people engaging in conversation, a lot of time is a tug of war with words. Most people want to feel significant. They want to feel heard. They want to feel like they matter. So by you being willing to listen to somebody, number one, by you being willing to ask somebody questions and engage in their world and be interested in them, the more interested you become in somebody, the more interested they become in you. So you're going to look at their eyes. You're going to actively listen. You're going to look at their eyes. You're going to ask them questions. You're going to compliment them, and the compliment be super genuine. And you're going to take the initiative to uplift them in a way that they've never been uplifted before. So like, I'll give you an example, right? Right now, let's say me and you are talking, Jeff. I'm listening to you. I'm looking at your eyes, and I'm like, man, Jeff, to tell you the truth, I'm so inspired by you, to know how much resilience you've encountered in this lifetime, to know that you've experienced this tragedy that could have taken you out. And the fact that not only are you here, but you chose not to be a victim to something that you had every reason to be a victim towards. And you chose to take that experience and pour into the world. That not only is that incredible, not only is that commendable, but that goes to show that you are a man of honor, a man of character, a man of integrity. The fact that I get to engage in this conversation with you gives me so much honor, so much privilege, and I feel so blessed that I couldn't imagine speaking to another human being at this time. How does that feel, Jeff?
That makes me feel great.
Did it feel genuine?
Yes, it really did.
Because it is. Because when you're happy and you genuinely feel whole as a human, your new approach is going to be, how can you make somebody else feel like they matter? If you want to make somebody else feel like they matter, we have to make it about them. And a lot of times we end up making conversations about ourselves, not realizing that if we're engaging with somebody, let's give ourselves a break to really make somebody feel like the most important person on the planet. Because watch this, and I'll end it with this for whoever asked the question. I have this standard that whoever is in front of me will never leave the same. When I tell you that standard has driven me to understand human behavior, to understand human body language, to understand human needs, I've become so invested that I can literally build rapport with somebody instantaneously, because once you understand patterns, somebody's body language is going to tell you what they're asking for.
That's cool. So, wow, I could just talk to you all night long, but we can't do that.
For sure.
But I need everybody out there, including you, Jeremy, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds will run out on your one life. Thank you again, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody else out there. I will see everybody next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a fantastic week. Thanks, guys. Thank you again, Jeremy.
Of course. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.